Jordan James, Bobby Dickard over Eden Abdul for Tarwu. Ricardo cleared a Mikey Johnston effort off the line. West Brom equalised 10 from the end of the first half with a super finish from Carl Grant. West Brom dominated the second period. Isaac Price hit a post. Jakub Stelarczyk with two super saves. He came and punched everything that came his way. And West Brom beaten by Abdul Fatawu, brilliance. Leicester soaked up the pressure, and on the break, Mavridi's cross came the way of Fatawu. A volley that was unstoppable into the top right corner of the goal. His fifth of the season seals the victory. Leicester 2, West Brom 1.
Well, quite unbelievable. A late winner from Abdul Fatawu, and what a winner. Jerry Taggart, you're on co-commentary duty. We're going to stick with the pitches because Marty Cifuentes is giving Abdul Fatawu a giant hug, and he deserves it. What a goal that was to win it.
Oh, incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. And fair play, subs made a difference when they come on. Louis Page again, I thought was impressive. Steffi Mavridis, who obviously assisted for the goal. But yeah, I mean, could you see that coming, that type of goal, that sort of goal right at the death? The quality of it, the quality of the strike, probably not. So it took me by surprise, that is for sure, and probably a few other people in this stadium, Dan, but just incredible. And he's an incredible player, isn't he? And another one for the collection box.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time he scored a tap-in, Jerry. But what again?
Well, he doesn't score tap-ins, does he?
Absolutely not. And the context and the timing of that was massive, wasn't it?
Oh, dearie me. I mean, you've got to say West Brom in the second half probably had the lion's share, had definitely more the pressure. Man of the match performance from the keeper tonight for me. Made 2 or 3 unbelievably good saves to keep Leicester in it. And then Leicester go up and nick it at the other end, right at the death. So just shows you just got to keep plugging away, and that's what Leicester did, even though they were not the best.
That is Jerry Taggart with us. He will stay with us on Matchday Live. Here we've got Simon Grayson and Matt Elliott in the studio alongside me, Dan Bateson. And we can smile, and you were slightly worried, Simon, that we wouldn't have much to talk about when we came into the studio, but we absolutely do now.
Well, we certainly do. The second half performance was, if you're being honest, was a West Brom good performance. Didn't really look like we were going to score. We didn't create too many things. Goalkeeper made some unbelievable saves. Defenders defended where they needed to do to keep it 1-1. And then you get late on like that. What a fantastic finish! He didn't do much throughout the game, to be fair, if you're being honest. But when he comes up with the magic and the quality at the very last few minutes of the game, it sends everybody home happy, and 3 points is all that matters.
They hung in there, Dan, isn't it? You can say that, can't you? I mean, at times, as Jerry said, it was all hands to the pump, and it was a little bit desperate. In terms of the bodies flooding into the box for both sides there at Stelarczyk's end, and you just felt sooner or later something's going to fall West Brom's way. But Leicester managed to scramble the ball away on numerous occasions. It wasn't particularly pretty, but in difficult circumstances, I thought they reacted pretty well, all things considered. It was difficult for them to get their football going. The confidence is low, etc. But out there, the crowd was dwindling as the clock ticked by, but they stuck at it. They were determined in their efforts. It wasn't pretty, but ultimately it was certainly effective. And like everyone else, I couldn't really see that coming. It's come totally out of the blue, hasn't it?
It's like when you look back on the game. Of course, we all analyse it and look into it, but back-to-back wins at home is huge for the confidence levels of the football club in general, not just the supporters, but everybody connected with it, the players, supporters, management, etc. It's a huge moment, and sometimes you just have to stay in the game and do whatever's required to get you through, to get that one moment, because you are going to get a chance, because Leicester have got some good individuals at some stage, and when you've got somebody who can finish like that, well, you don't want it to fall to anybody else, do you?
Yeah. I'm just thinking back, Jerry, that there have been a few sucker punches this season. Even at home, I'm thinking Borough scored, didn't they, in about the 96th minute? That felt horrible as an equaliser. When you're on the right end of it, like Leicester have been tonight, there's no better feeling in football, is there?
Yeah, I mean, we're all agreed that we didn't really see it coming. It took us by surprise. But you're right. You know, they're also right in saying that if you stick at it, you stay in the game. You know, the two centre halves again flung themselves at everything. The keeper pulled off a few great saves, and Leicester were still in the game. I mean, they made the substitutions at the right time. They made an impact, and I mean, when it goes like that, when it goes your way, I mean, it's a bit of a surreal moment, really, but it's a great one. It is a great moment to savour, and as I said, the finish matched the occasion. You know, what a top finish. You know, he must be knackered, Abdul Fattawi, the amount of football he's played. And the pull off a strike like that, to have the composure, where, you know, when you take into consideration where we are in the game as well, the clock's running down. It's not an easy chance by any stretch of the imagination. Just top class finish, you have to say.
Thanks, Matthew. We're going to keep you at it. A quick little question. I mean, you touched on it anyway, but you were impressed with the way that Leicester, you know, we've mentioned it already, but the way they stuck to their task, really, particularly defensively. It wasn't pretty on the eye, was it? But those two centre halves you mentioned, I think, and the goalkeeper, that will, going forward, that will serve them really well, wouldn't it? You know, creating a bit of a partnership, a bond between the three of them, if you like.
Yeah, I think, you know, there was a couple of occasions, you know, I think we were talking about Jakub Stolarczyk against Watford, where he's come for a ball and stopped and it ends up in the back of the net. The same scenario arose here tonight, and he made his mind up early. He came and he got two hands to the ball, and it was a good punch. That would have given him a bit of confidence. The two centre halves, when the balls were being flung in the box, were flinging themselves at it. Yeah, so a bit more confidence for that back line, and then the self-belief keeps coming back that yes, we're under pressure, but I trust myself and I trust the other two guys that if the ball does come into the box, then we'll get something on it. We'll get the ball, the danger cleared, should I say. And they did that on numerous occasions. And if you keep yourself in a game, Larry's already mentioned it, if you just keep plugging away and somehow, you know, just keep the ball out of your net, then you just never know what can happen at the other end of the pitch. And in players like Fattawi, we all know that we've got a match winner, and boy did he show it tonight.
Yeah, just digging in, sticking in, and that's what they did. And it's actually, sometimes it's really good as a supporter to watch that and see that.
Well, there's no better time to score, to be fair. When you're a defender, goalkeeper, you're there to do your job. You're trying to keep the opposition out, obviously. But West Brom will be devastated because no getting away from the fact that they were the better team in possession, looked like they were going to score more. But the characters came through. The defenders will be delighted with that second half performance. The goalkeeper will take a huge amount of confidence from it because he's been questioned a little bit at times over the season, I suppose. But he's produced some real good performances. You get a bit of luck sometimes along the way. I think they got a deflection. He got a little fingertips on that hit the post. Every save that he made fell to a blue shirt, and the defenders were there to clear it away. But it's a huge second half rearguard action, really, because we didn't really look like we were going to score. We didn't have that purpose about us. West Brom certainly did. But the longer you can stay in games, you always need one opportunity. And when that big opportunity comes along, you need it to come to your best player. And that's what's happened. And there isn't another player on that pitch tonight, I don't think, that scores that goal.
Certainly not on the left foot anyway, Matt.
No, he's spectacular at times, isn't he? But largely anonymous this evening for large periods, but which is not like him, to be fair. But yeah, like everyone, he feels the confidence, you know, at times as much as anyone else. But yeah, he's just thinking back on some of the goals that he has scored. Remarkable efforts, aren't they? A lot of them. But yeah, couldn't get any more timely than that, and totally out of nowhere as well. And that's what he's capable of, isn't it? But to be fair, both Leicester's goals tonight were totally sort of in contrast to the general performance, really, because it was a decent goal. I mean, Fattawi's made the most of across just into an area from Avadili, but it was well set up and well developed, and he smashed it away. The first goal we spoke about half time was wonderful. So they got that to hang on to from a confidence point of view, but also this result, regardless of the performance, it gives the opportunity to sort of build a little platform going forward, and hopefully they can create a run off the back of it, because in a game or two's time they won't be thinking about how well they played or not against West Brom. It's like, well, we've got 3 points there. Can we keep it ticking over at the weekend? It's going to be interesting to see how. Well, it's a bit early, just straight after the game, when the manager's looking to approach things with Cheltenham in the FA Cup, because the squad's a little bit threadbare as it is, and that would be interesting. If they can keep things churning over till the next league game, then
which happens to be Coventry away, by the way.
Well, yeah.
Great game to be involved in, isn't it?
It is,
what I mean? It's another local derby. You're going sort of head to head to the league leaders as well, and it is not.
You wouldn't want to be going there conceding a late goal tonight.
No, exactly. And you're going into the game. Nobody will remember. Well, we will remember it, but nobody cares less in 2-3 games when the 2 back-to-back home victories might lead to a third and a fourth. All of a sudden, you're getting a little bit more of a snowball effect on the confidence and an upward trajectory. And the big thing about it is the players have responded from a disappointing performance and result at Sheffield United recently.
Yeah, there's so many ways to look at things, Matt. It's 1 win in 5 for Coventry going into the game. 2 wins in the last 3 for Leicester. There's so many ways that you can look at things off the back of a very, very late winner.
No, exactly, and that's the way Leicester have got to look at it. And there'll be a little bit of apprehension, however good Coventry are, and have been doing exceptionally well. But they'll be feeling the effects of stumbling a little bit, and they'll know that it's a big game, local derby, etc., and they know what Leicester are capable of. So there's there's reason to be cheerful or hopeful, certainly going into that game, but we'll deal with the weekend first.
Yeah, absolutely. In the FA Cup. We'll come on to that in just a moment. Jerry, you reeled off some individuals. You've particularly talked about the goalkeeper. I know Simon's mentioned that the central defenders as well. Would you have Jakub Stolacic today as your man of the match?
I think you have to, Dan. He's pulled off 2 or 3 really good saves tonight. When Leicester were under severe pressure from West Brom, and you're thinking the header from Campbell at the back post, I'm thinking that's in, and somehow he keeps it out. So that save alone, his decision making was good tonight. He was brave when he needed to be. He came for crosses. I know he does like to come for crosses. His handling was good. So yeah, I think he just tips. I mean, just for that goal alone from Abdul Fattah, he's got to be right up there. But I think the keeper has to get it for keeping Leicester, for helping to keep Leicester. Look, we've all been talking about after the game, keeping Leicester in the game, just giving them something to feed off, and then bingo, look what happens at the other end of the pitch. And that's something that should always stay with you as a defender. When something like that happens in a game that you possibly can't see no way through, you can't see how you're going to get something out of it, and then boom, out of nowhere you score a winner. And that should be something that never leaves these young lads now moving forward.
When you have worked hard like that, the strikers then, Abdul Fattah, who goes and gets all the headlines because it's an unbelievable strike, but it must mean an awful lot to you guys as a defence, particularly Jakub Stolacic tonight. I'm sure when that goal went in, he was happier than all the thousands of fans that were in the ground.
Partial of football at the end of the day. Larry's just mentioned it. Defender's job is to stop the ball going in their net, along with a goalkeeper. That is rule number 1. That is the most important part of your job. Anything after that is a bonus. And so, but how you can help your team get results, and especially in a game like tonight, which wasn't of the highest quality, which is understandable, by the way, because of the time of the year that we're in, the time of the season that we're in. There's been a lot of football played. There's some tired legs out there, so Sometimes you just have to dial it down a tone or two, but to just be able to stay in the game and have that reward right at the end. I mean, for the lads in the dressing room, there'll be no better feeling, because even they will understand that really we've just won a game that, you know, really we shouldn't have. At best we could have came out of here with a draw. How they didn't score is down to the brilliance of the keeper, helped along by the two centre halves and the other defenders as well, to be honest. And then we go and nick it right at the end. I mean, it doesn't happen too often. So when it does happen, you have to keep that feeling, and you have to bring it forward with you for the rest of your career, because you never know when it's going to happen again. But it will. It will definitely happen again.
I think what will be interesting, tags come the weekend as well, a win tonight, is how many changes the manager makes at the weekend.
Yeah.
If I'm in his shoes, and I'm certainly not going to tell him how to do the job, I think he keeps as strong a team as possible. I get there'll be changes, there will be some players come into the team, but maybe keep the back four, the goalkeeper, and sort of get the continuity, try and get a clean sheet at Cheltenham. And I'm not saying that's sort of, it's just a mental side that if you keep a clean sheet, you're going into the Coventry game even better, you know what I mean? So sometimes you've done a lot of good things and you get the breaks. Tonight can be undone, all that hard work, by making 11 changes at the weekend and losing a game where you shouldn't lose it. Potentially, I'm not saying we're going to do. You could make 11 changes and you win the game. But if this is your strongest team, try and play as many of them as you can to go and win another back-to-back victories. Spoke before the game, how many times Leicester City this year have gone 2-3 games on the bounce of winning? Not too often, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. The two centre halves are two young lads. They've got, fresh legs, so they'll recover from this, no problem. You might see Bobby Dover-Reid, not starting the game, play young Louis Page, who I've been impressed with the last couple of times he's come on as a sub. So there may be one of the changes, but definitely, if you've got young fresh legs that are starting week in, week out, then there's no reason. There's enough time between now and the next game for them to recover with ease.
Yeah, I think it's more the back five that you try and keep that same unit work, because the more they play together, the more understanding they get. We've three defenders, as we keep mentioning, that we took great delight in keeping clean sheets and doing our job, and then allowing the other lads to go at the other end of the pitch and win games or get us out of a bit of trouble by doing our job. So I think continuity can play a big part for the next few weeks, because win against Cheltenham and then all of a sudden you're going into the Coventry game in even more confidence.
Yeah, and now you're looking at the table and everything just looks different again, Matt. It's 4 points off the playoff, 7 off fourth. You actually don't know then. It just gives it a completely different complexion, doesn't it?
No, exactly. It's listen, it's quite a relatively long way to go, but it's also fine, small margins, isn't it, in terms of getting to that stage where if it's lost tonight, then you might be looking at yourselves, you're actually closer, still a fair distance, mind you, but closer to like the relegation slots than the playoff slots. And you don't really want that scenario, do you? So as you've just mentioned, just a few points off the playoff slot, and that's got to give you some encouragement, isn't it, going forward? Give you something to aim for, a target, and a huge boost, Time will tell exactly how big that goal is, that this win is down the line. But it could be a massive change for Leicester in terms of, and like you say, going into the cup game there at the weekend, I think there'll be minimal changes probably, because you wouldn't want to sort of risk coming unstuck there and then going into the Coventry game. You want to try and keep that feel-good factor that's there right now. It's come unexpectedly, and it gives you an opportunity to sort of capitalise it on it the weekend, and who knows then against Coventry after that. But yeah, right now, look at that league table all of a sudden, and the picture's not as gloomy as it might have been. So take inspiration from that.
The big difference as well from drawing the game tonight and winning the game, not just for the team, not just for the supporters, but for the manager as well, he's been under a lot of pressure, and people are talking lose tonight. He could have been under more pressure, maybe lose his job, because that's just the nature of football. I don't think he deserves to lose his job, but now that's taken the pressure off him. He doesn't need to put himself under any more pressure by making 11 changes at the weekend, because he's back to square one again. So if I'm in his shoes, I'm picking a good, strong team to go and get back-to-back wins and keep the pressure off myself and also help the confidence of the players.
There's enough time in between as well to recover. I know it's been a busy period, as Jerry mentioned, but you know they've got enough time in between games.
But the thing about it is, I know football's different this day and age from when we played, but after winning tonight in the manner that we did, all we wanted as players was to play the next game. Regardless if you're playing in a cup game, a league game, you just wanted to play another game, didn't you?
Yeah. Even just looking at that picture behind you, Matt, is a great one there of just the joy, the happiness. There's probably relief on those faces as much as there is joy and happiness. But that shows a group of players that really care.
Well, yeah, hopefully there'll be pictures of that in and around the changing room, I suppose, or down at the training ground, etc. I'm sure those images are sort of utilised in a positive way by the club staff. And yeah, I mean, you see it down in the tunnel, don't you, before the game? There's all these pictures of group celebration and group positivity, and that's one of the better ones as well, wouldn't it? You know, but I'd look at that if I was part of that. I think, oh yeah, what a night that was. You know, come on, let's go and make the most of it. Let's follow on from that. Naturally gets you feeling, you know, up for the next challenge, and hopefully that'll be the case.
Yeah, we've had plenty of comments in on YouTube. Thank you for those. Bubba said before the game he'd had a good weekend.
He's always
his
happy,
weekend has continued, of course, into this tonight. Michael Batchelor said that was a good win. Richard Wilson, Jerry, says now let's put a run together. I think that kind of echoes, doesn't it, a little bit about what we've been saying, but it's the sort of result, it's a sort of moment in a season that hopefully can kickstart things and can really get you to go on a run, like he said.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we been saying that about, you know, consistency, quality, whatever. But then also with the way Leicester have won this game tonight, could that be that the spark that lights the fuse? You know, we'll have to wait and see, because we've been speaking about it for most of the season and it hasn't quite happened. I think there was that 3-game run, wasn't there? The 2 wins and the draw not so long ago, a few weeks ago. But other than that, I can't remember. Maybe at the beginning of the season there was a couple of games where Leicester impressed, you know, in back-to-back games. But I mean, yeah, you know, we've all spoken about it, Dan, that the potential is here. They show it in certain games and not in other games. And it's just the missing piece of the jigsaw at the minute, isn't it? That key word, consistency. So who knows? Who knows what's around the corner?
Yeah, it seems to be what, I mean, I've had this job with you, Matt, now since 2018, and consistency just always is the buzzword. And that's because it is so key in football, isn't it?
Yeah, it needs to be able to churn out results as well. You don't always play top of your game, do you? But as we've seen tonight, you know, there wouldn't have been the intended manner or approach for the game tonight from the manager and the players. But you know, they've got themselves through it. They were resolute and determined, solid first and foremost. Give yourself, again, that word platform. You know, give yourself that opportunity to go and get something out of the game. And it was a little bit nervy and shaky at times, but you know, all said and done, they've got the 3 points there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the manager's even spoken about it, isn't he? Difficult to put his finger on why the consistency isn't there. He said it was something he sensed that there's been sort of an issue before he came to the club, etc. You know, perhaps it's the disappointment of getting relegated, etc. I don't know. Larry probably better qualified how to determine it. It's not easy, Larry, is it? You know, you've been a manager in many situations.
But sometimes there's a result in the course of a season that just is a
Sets things
catalyst,
off,
which just sets you off on a run. Tonight might be one of them performances and an end product that you get that is good and suddenly goes, this is the start. Hopefully we're talking about that and it isn't another result with a false promise of what could happen with this group of players. Hopefully it's a real catalyst that you go on and say, right, let's use this Well, we've got out of jail. There's no getting away from that we shouldn't have won the game, but we have. Now we use it as a real positive to crack on for the rest of the season.
Yeah, the type of game that you maybe look back at in May and think that was a huge moment in the season. Hopefully so. Jerry, I just want to speak quickly about Steffi Mavididi. It was he that came on that left-hand side, didn't he, and put the cross in. Was he aiming for Abdul, do you think? Was that a ball just in the box? And I think JJ was about to go up for a header and then pulled out, so I wonder if Abdul just screamed at him, basically calling for the ball, and thankfully he obliged.
Yeah, I think Steffi was just putting the ball into a good area, which he did. I think Louis Page played him a wonderful little pass, so he could actually cross it first time with his left foot, which probably 9 times out of 10 would have been the right decision, is to put that left foot across him first time, because that unsettles the defenders. Once you chop back onto your right foot, then the defenders have a second or two to reset, get themselves into a better position. But the weight on the ball, it was like a little scoop right foot across. The weight on the ball, he puts it into a good area where JJ was, you're right. Whether it was just too high for him or whether he got a call from Abdul, we'll never really know, but it's all material. As a manager and as a coach, you're always telling your opposite wide players to make sure you're coming in off the line and taking up a good position at that far post just in case it misses everybody. And that's exactly what Abdul did. and obviously with that finish put the game to bed. But fair play to Steffi, he came on and made a difference. And that ball, whether he was picking out JJ or whether he was looking for Abdul, we don't really know, but the most important thing for Steffi was he put it into a really good area so it could be attacked.
And he almost then set up another, which would have been quite unbelievable had they scored in the 94th minute and then scored again after that. Louis Page will be unlucky. Was it a save or a block on the line? I can't remember. Either way, it was a great save, but that was good. Again, that was just hard work from Steffi, wasn't it, just to get onto that loose ball?
Well, it's like any time you make a substitution as a manager, you want your substitutions to make an impact. The worst thing you could do is put somebody on and it doesn't affect the game. Because believe me, if he doesn't affect the game or any of the substitutions don't affect the game, next time they're sat next to me on the bench, I'm thinking, last time you came on, you didn't really affect the game, so you don't put them on. So you're doing to affect the game, but also you're trying to affect the manager's thought process of, I'm going to be in your plans to start me in the next game when it's a league game or a cup game. And most of the subs did that. If we'd won 3-1 tonight, it would have been a little bit very, very harsh on Ryan Mason. But unfortunately, that's what football's all about. You don't get what you deserve sometimes, and you've got to utilise them moments when they come along. Going back to the goal, it wasn't anything special. It was a ball in the box, and Fatawu was just there at the right time and finished it.
Makes it special.
Yeah, it does. Of course it does.
A quick final word on Louis Page, actually, Matt. It would have been nice for him to have got that goal and had that moment, wouldn't it? But again, he came on those times where he just looks really calm on the ball, doesn't he, for someone so young?
He's a natural footballer, isn't he? I've heard the more experienced players speak about him in glowing terms, sort of, away from the games itself, and just on little clips, etc. And you get the impression that you can see quite clearly he's got ability. As soon as he came into the fray, really, and got involved, you can see he's comfortable on the ball. He's quite tenacious, but he's got some development to do physically. But
he's 17.
Yeah, exactly. That will only serve him well. That will come naturally enough. But when that does, I think there's real, genuine potential there, because he's confident on the ball, left-footed, and he looks like he's hungry as well for the game. But he gets involved, and he doesn't look in awe of anything at all, does he? And the manager's obviously got faith in him.
It's funny because he's with the same agency as I am, and I spoke to him this morning, the agent, and I said, I'm doing the TV tonight. I says, I'll big him up. I'll say how well he's done. So I give him man of the match performance.
Very good. Well, nice way to end it. Thank you to Jerry, Simon and Matt. Of course, we'll be back again on Saturday for that FA Cup game that we've been talking about. It's a nice early start on Saturday for that one. It is a 12:15 kickoff, by far the earliest kickoff, I think, of the season so far. That means we'll be live from 11:45. Do join us for that. Again, if you head on to Foxy Sub, you'll get all the information about what is available to you, whether you can watch the game with us or listen to the game. Thanks again to Jerry. Thanks again to Simon. That's 2 wins from 2. Start on this sofa now, then. I think we'll have to bump whoever guest we've got for Coventry and get you back in for that one.
It's only
In
news.
fact, just bump Matt.
Okay.
Oh, that's
All right. You can drive down to Cheltenham instead of me, Larry.
Thank you to both of you. Thanks as ever. Matt, yes, we'll be back again on Saturday for that game with Cheltenham. But the headlines tonight is Abdul Fatawi, who scored another worldie, and he's secured all 3 points for the Foxes. Have a great week, everybody. Goodbye.